Hi and welcome back to the channel on our continuing voyage to become better blues players. So my name's Mark, and in this lesson we're going to look at 11 different turnaround licks. So today's video we're looking at 11 different example turnarounds, all in the key of A, that you play over the turnaround section of a 12-bar blues. So quick recap, what is a turnaround? Well, if you think of a blues chord progression, most commonly the 12-bar blues, we think of the last two bars of that progression is the turnaround. So it's where we end up back on the A chord, which is, we're in the key of A, so that's our root, and then we end the last bar on the E chord, the E7, which tells the listener's ear, hey, we're turning around, we're going to start the whole progression again. Okay, so that you can hear it in context. Here's a typical example. Here's the last four bars of a blues 12-bar blues chord progression, so you can hear where the turnaround fits in. The turnaround is just the last two bars of what you're about to see, so the second half of what you're about to see. So here's what a turnaround is. So that's what we're going to be playing over, those last two bars. So I put it in, I show you the last four bars so you can see it in context, but we're really focusing on just those last two bars. Okay, so if you like this kind of thing, hit subscribe, please like, share the video, etc. And thank you to all the Patreon supporters who actually make this possible by paying for the lights and the cameras and all the other stuff. So what we're going to be doing now is I'm going to show you 11 different lines, different turnarounds that you can use over those last two bars. So that's where these turnarounds fit in. Okay, so those 11 examples, they start super easy, they get an awful lot harder. Even the easy ones though, I use myself all the time when I'm playing in a band or jamming with friends or something. If I'm playing and there's another soloist going, I'll use one of these really simple easy lines just as kind of part of the rhythm part, because it then doesn't kind of trounce over whatever they're doing. So yeah, even though they're really simple, they're actually really useful. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll go through them, I'll show you an example of each one, I'll teach you them, and there'll be tab on screen and things. So let's start. Here's example one. So that was example one, and you couldn't get much easier than that. What we're doing is we're starting on the root note, which is, we're in the key of A, so we're starting on an A chord, so we're starting on the root of A, which is 5th fret, bottom E string. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to 4th fret on the A string, and we're going to walk up chromatically until we get to 7th fret on the A string. And we're going to hang on that note because the underlying chord progression now is on an E, so that's the E note, so it's going to sit there for a while, and then what we're going to do is we're going to hit it one more time and then go back to our A chord, back into the rhythm. So nice and slow, here's the whole turnaround. Okay, so that's all it is. That is literally the easiest turnaround I could think of to start you off with. Okay, so that was example one. Here's example two. So example two now is a slight variation on what we just played. Instead of starting on our root note 5 on the bottom E string, we're going to start by using an A chord on the A, D and G strings. And then we're going to play the same chromatic run, but what we're going to do is we're going to hit the note on the A string, and then we're going to hit the open A string, and then the next note, and then the open A again. So you get this. So having walked up to 7th fret on the A string, we then hit this chord, which is an E7, just using the A string, D string and G string, 7th fret, 6th fret and 7th fret respectively, and we kind of just strum that and then go back to the A chord. Okay, lick 3, and here lick 3 now goes like this. So lick 3 uses the same chromatic idea of walking up from the fourth fret on the A string to the 7th fret on the A string, but instead of starting on either the open A string or the A on the 5th fret of the bottom E string, we're actually going to start with an octave above, which is the 7th fret of the D string. So we get this. Okay, so that's the little run. Then I kind of finish it off by playing an F7 sliding down into the E7. So that's the same chord shape that we had in the previous lick. So I'm starting on the F, so we're actually going 8th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret on the A string, D string and G string. And then immediately coming back a fret with each of those. So we end up 7th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret. Okay, so that part goes like this. So with each of these examples, even though they're quite simple, you can actually add some variations. So like lick 1, instead of just going, you could actually hit each note twice, so you get this. Okay, and you can do that kind of doubling things up with any of those 3 licks that we just started with. So in that example, that was lick 3 again, but instead of hitting each note once, I'm hitting each note 3 times on a triplet. Okay, so point being that you can take any of those 3 licks that we started with and kind of just add your own variations into them as well by playing each note more than once. Okay, so example 4 now, and example 4 goes like this. So example 4 now is a little bit different. Instead of chromatically walking up to the E, what we're going to do is we're going to chromatically walk down to the E. So we're going to start again, root note on the D string, 7th fret for the A. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start on the 5th fret on the D string and we'll chromatically walk down until we get to the 2nd fret of the D string. I'm going to play each of those notes twice, apart from that last one on the 2nd fret, which we're just going to hit once. So you get this. Okay, so that's that part. Then we do the F7 to E7 thing that we did in example 3. And then we're going to end this lick with a little run that goes like this. And that last note has to land on the start of the next bar. Okay, and the notes in that little last run are 7th fret on the A string, to 5 on the D, 7 on the A string, then 5 on the G string to 7 on the D string. So nice and slow, that bit. If you're on that 5 there, you can give that a little bend. If you want, just pull it slightly sharp. Sounds nice and bluesy. Don't have to. Can't remember how I did it in the example, but there you go. So that was lick 4. Lick 5 now goes like this. Okay, so lick 5 is actually based on the same idea as lick 4, except it's going to be a bit harder because we're bouncing between the D string and the whole time essentially playing the same as lick 4, but the whole time what we're going to be doing is bouncing between the note on the D string and 5th fret of the top E. So you get this. And in this example, I think I actually added one more note to the very end. So as we hang on that A note, 7th fret of the D string at the very end, I then grab the 5th fret of the G string and just kind of pull it slightly snatch it out a little bit. Okay, kind of like a little bluesy thing I do now and again. Okay, but the important part of this lick is the fact that what we're doing is we're alternating between the D string and the top E. Okay, that's the tricky bit. Getting there up to speed, that'll take a little bit of practice, particularly if you're not used to kind of skipping strings in this way. Again, you can play this one in different ways, there's variations. When I play this acoustic, if I'm using my fingers, I'll often do it like this. That kind of thing. So instead of alternating between D string, E string, D string, E string, I'm actually picking the pair of them together at the same time. That kind of thing. You've probably heard a million variations on that yourselves, but yeah, you can play around with that. That is lick 4, no, that was lick 5 actually. Lick 6 now goes like this. So, lick 6 now, what we're going to do is we're going to kick another string skipping idea, this time playing an ascending line. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit 7 on the D string, so that's our root note. We're going to hit that, then we're going to hit that again and start playing from the G string. Starting on the 6th fret, we're going to be ascending up from the 6th fret, all the time bouncing off top E at the 5th fret. Okay, so actual lines are, we play 7 on the D string, then 7 on the D again, 6 on the G, top E. So we get this so far. Then what we're going to do is G string 6 to 7, top E again. Then what we're going to do is 7 to 8 on the G string, top E again, and then 8 to 9 on the G string. So far nice and slow. Then what we're going to do is we're going to slide into 9, hit 8 on the B string, back to 9 on the G. And then what I do is I pull 8 on the top E, pull that slightly sharp, hit hit 10 on the B string, which is our root note, and then finally do the flat third little pull again, 8th fret on the E string. So that second section, that last part, nice and slow. Okay, so I think I covered all that. I'll play the whole lick nice and slow. Okay, so that was lick 7, no, that was lick 6. Lick 7 now goes like this. Okay, very different kind of lick 7. What we do is we're using double stops. We're sliding into 9 on the G and 8 on the B string and hitting that 3 times. But what we do is, the way the turnaround plays is we don't play on the first beat of the bar, we play on the 2. So it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so what we've got then is we are sliding into 9 on the G string and 8 on the B string, as I said before. Sliding in, hitting that 3 times. Sliding in, hitting that 3 times again. Sliding in, hitting that 3 times again. So we get this so far. Then what we're going to play is we're going to slide down to the 7th fret on the G string. Play 5 on the G, to 7 on the D string, to 7 on the A string. So that part goes like this. Then what we're going to do is we're going to slide in 7 on the A string, 5 on the G string, bend that slightly sharp and resolve 7 on the D string. Whole lick, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that was lick 7. Lick 8 now goes like this. Okay, lick 8, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, another descending string skip idea. This time we're actually moving parallel. We've got the G and the top E strings moving together. So we get the 4 count, then one more beat, and then we're in on the 2. And then what we're doing is we're picking between G string and top E. So we go G, so 9th fret, G, top E, back to G, then move down to 8. So we go 8 on the G, top E, back to G, then 7 on the G, top E, back to the G. So nice and slow. That part goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and then when we get to 7 on the top E, what we're then going to do is hammer on from the 5th fret on the G string to the 6th fret, and then what we're going to do is going to play 7 on the D string to 7 on the A string. So that little last part goes like this. And then what we're going to do is end our lick like we've ended the previous few. Slide into 7, 5 on the G to 7 on the D string. Okay, whole lick, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, I use that lick myself an awful lot. If anyone's heard my album, then the track Drink Away My Blues, got that one in quite a few times. Right, that was lick 8. I love that little lick. And then so now we're on to example 9, or lick 9. What are these examples or licks? I don't know. Example 9 goes like this. Okay, so example 9, very different. I'll tell you where the idea from this one comes from. If you've got an A chord there, or an A7, that bar chord, all know and love, what we do is we take those 2 notes from that A7, so the A string and the G string, and we're basically dragging that shape up so that we're starting on the 10th fret of the A string and the where is that? That's 9th fret of the G string. And what we're going to do is we're going to do our string skipping descending chromatic line thing that we've used, that idea we've used in several examples so far, and we're just going to do that but using these 2 strings with that shape. So you get this. Okay, so I'm chromatically starting A string 10th fret, so and then just going down 1 fret at a time on those, and again this lick comes in on B2. So this section, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and then when we get to there, which is the 7th fret of the A string, what we're going to then do is a little chromatic line coming back up the other way. So we're going to go 5 to 6 to 7 on the A string. But actually, when we hit that 7th there, instead of just playing the note, I play the full E9 chord. So you get this. So fingering wise, the way I do this, index finger 5th fret, index finger 5th fret, middle finger 6th fret, middle finger 7th fret again, and underneath that middle finger I put the rest of the E9 chord down. E9 chord is 7 on the A, 6 on the D, and then ring finger across 7th fret across the remaining 3 strings. Okay, so put those two parts together, we get this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, now that little line, that's something I've seen Clapton do like a million times. I'm sure lots of other players do it as well, but that's kind of where I nicked it from. And then we just end the line with the same little phrase that we've been playing a few times now. Okay, which is 7 on the A, 5 on the D, 7 on the A, 5 on the G, 7 on the D string. Okay, whole lick, nice and slow. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, lick 9, so that was lick 9 rather. Lick 10 now goes like this. So, lick 10, another line I nicked from Clapton, this one from Worried Life Blues on 24 Nights. I absolutely love this lick. I've used this so many times, probably my favourite turnaround ever. Okay, it's a complicated one, I'll take you through it nice and slow. We start G string, 7th fret, bend up a whole tone, and then B string 5, top E5. So far we've got this. Then what we're playing is on the B string, 8, off to 5, 7. So that part goes like this. Then 7 on the G string, 5 on the B string. So far we've got this. Then what we're playing is 7 on the G string, to 5, hammer on to 6 on the G string, before coming down to 7 on the A to 7 on the D to 7 on the A. So that part then goes like this. Okay, so that whole part, nice and slow. Okay, lick 10, on to lick 11, which is the last lick now. But before I do, please remember to hit like, please subscribe. If you like this, you want to learn other stuff, you like the way I do videos, know how to teach, please hit like, hit the bell so you get told about it. And thank you so much to all my Patreons who pay for the lights and the camera and everything else that's going on. Okay, lick 11. Lick 11 now goes like this. So, if you've been following my lessons, you may recognise this one because I actually used this one in the flat 5 blues lesson, the blues scale, easy blues scale licks or something. Forgotten what I've called it. But anyway, the last video I did was all about using the blues scale. And I taught this as the turnaround I used in that particular example. So if you took that lesson, you've already seen this one, you already know it. If you haven't, you might want to check out that lesson. But anyway, it's a lick that deliberately uses the flat 5, which is the 8th fret of the G string, as a kind of target note. Well, actually it's not a target note, it's a note, it's a passing note, but it's deliberately using it in the lick. Anyway, enough talking. Nice and slow, it goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so we start again. First beat, we leave alone, and we come in on the second beat. We grab 8th fret of the B string, bend it up a whole tone before grabbing top E, 5th fret. Then we're coming back down, 8th fret of the B to 5 on the B. So far we've got this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, nice and simple. Then what we're doing is we're coming down 8 on the G, so 7 on the G to 5 on the G, before hitting 7 on the A to 7 on the E. So that part goes like this. Put the two parts together, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and then we just end with this our standard little, which I've tagged on pretty much all of these examples. You don't have to use that little lick to end these. You can come up with your own little run-in or something, but I've kind of used that as just like a little tag, because actually the thing to focus on is all those little chromatic things that are getting us from the A up to that, land on that E. Anyway, enough talk. That's example, what was that? Example 7. No, sorry, it was example 11. So we finished all our examples. So thank you for watching the video. What I'll leave you with now is the backing track, so you can try each of these licks. They all work over exactly the same backing track. You can try them out for yourself. So I'll leave you with that, and I'll see you again. Here's the backing track.